Hi, I'm Luis Olivan, producer and co-founder at Fiction Studios, a small indie company settled in Madrid, Spain.
And I'm Simon Ferrari, the director of games at AMC Games, the publisher of the game.
We are here as part of the official selection of the London Games Festival, and we're introducing the Fabulous Fear Machine.
So let's take it away.
The Fabulous Fear Machine, it's a narrative-driven game that features strategy mechanics that revolves around fear itself and how fear can be used to control people.
The game is topical. I think that's the best way to say it.
Well, in the game, players will play as masters.
So these are ambitious people. They're leaders of corporations or political bodies or maybe even religious organizations.
Which are people that want to get specific goals, usually related with power or wealth or control.
The first one you'll play as, and the one that is featured in the demo of the game, is named Jen. She's a promising young scientist who comes from a long line of brilliant chemists who kind of has a desire for corporate takeover.
So to get these goals, the masters need to convince people who live in specific regions of specific things. And to do so, they use the Fabulous Fear Machine, which is a device that creates and spreads fear.
Greetings, traveler. We've been waiting a long time for you. The ancient, fabulous Fear Machine calls you. Use it, and everything you've ever dreamt of will be within your reach. What are your deepest desires? Power, wealth, glory. The machine and its agents will aid you. In return, we ask for the merest token. Your story will become a part of the machine forever. Are you willing to pay this price? Then insert your coin.
The way to do so is to create and spread fear using legends. These legends are usually urban myths or fake news that the machine implants in these regions.
A lot of what the game deals with is not just scary stories and urban legends, but it's how the news media would hypothetically signal boost those urban myths if they were real.
So as the legends grow stronger, people are more afraid. So it makes easier for the masters to make people believe in specific things, which is the perfect ground for the masters to get their goals.
This is our beautiful title screen. So what you're about to see here is the first gameplay recording that we've shown to the public. So it's kind of really exciting for us and a little bit scary. And kind of what you're going to see here is you're going to see a little bit of the intro story for what a master looks like. So you're going to see a little bit of the beginning of Jen's story, which is done in these kind of beautiful comic strips. And then it'll introduce the kind of basic goals of the game, right? Which is to spread different messages in each region of the map for each chapter. And then also it'll show you how to place your fear seed, which we haven't really talked about yet, but essentially there's a visual depiction of how your influence is growing in a region. And it's this kind of purple miasma that emerges from the ground. And so it's a visual representation, as I said, that shows, listen, you're getting more powerful, but also it unlocks a special type of resource that you can harvest as it grows. And so that's kind of what kicks it off. And then we show kind of 6 minutes of unedited gameplay that kind of take you through the basic mechanics of everything, which is placing agents and exploring locations, developing legends, so developing your myths and placing them in city centers to grow. And then we show how those evolve over time and how the media and people react to them. And then we show a little bit of what the gameplay looks like when a rival shows up. So every master in the game has a rival who kind of follows them through across chapters. And the rival is also trying to grow their own influence of fear in the region. And so we kind of show what the interactions look like between the master and their rival. And yeah, that's about it.
Yeah, it's important also to note that this is not final. This is still work in progress. So the video you're gonna watch is not final, and you need some UX polishing and some interface polishing, and some things might still change. Although it's a good depiction of what the final game will look like.
And this is the comic strip I was talking about. That kind of it's in a little bit of a different style from the rest of the game. Basically, we just want to highlight how important the masters are and show off their introduction to the story in a really cool way. So this is Jen approaching the Fear Machine for the first time and meeting Kirlian.
Yeah, usually for masters to get to the machine takes some effort. I mean, it's like Kirlian attracts the right kind of person to the machine. So it's like a test for them. If they find the machine, then they are the right kind of people.
So here at the beginning of the mission, it kind of shows your basic goals and then also lets you pick which agent you'd like to start with. So I'm kind of slowly hovering over the tooltips on there to show that the agents basically have different strengths. And I chose Renee because Renee's my favorite character in the game.
Yeah, you saw the cover of a comic book. That's because throughout the game, players will have the chance to know more about the background, the stories of the masters, and it will be shown as in a comic book format.
So this is the kind of all-important placing of the Fear Seed. As you can see, there's a couple different valid regions where you can put it. I always like to put it between two large cities, and on this mission, basically placing it between Manchester and London is what I think is the optimal move for me and the way I play. And so that's the Fear Seed. You can see it, that kind of glowing purple there. And once that's down, you kind of get right into the body of the gameplay, which involves moving your agents around and exploring. So inside each city, there are kind of multiple areas. As you explore them, you'll unlock new stories about that area and also new interactions and choices you can make. But most importantly, unlocking parts of the city allow you to develop resources in those locations. So I chose the special resource, Oleum, which is kind of like the money of the game.
Yeah. And now, Simon just filtered through the different kind of terrors that can affect a region. So in every mission, there are different legends that might affect different terrors. So your goal in the game is to choose a legend that affects that region and then plant that legend within one of the hotspots in the city and make the legend evolve.
This is basically showing that whenever you explore or make an important choice, it basically has effects on the game state. So in that case, we got lucky and we raised a certain type of fear in the region just by kind of exploring the city. So to develop the legend that we chose, which is Contaminated Wells, it requires a specific kind of resource. And so what this is showing is that I'm now harvesting that resource with the agent.
Yeah, these are the events Simon was talking about before. Some of these events are triggered by our own actions as players, but others are more or less random, so they might happen without you as a player doing anything, but they definitely affect the gameplay. They can give you free resources, or they can affect the terrors of the regions themselves, or they can give you oleum. You can interact with some of them, you can't interact with some of them, so you have to keep an eye on them.
So this is showing how you evolve legends. Essentially, you have a mini game that takes place inside of a concept map, and you kind of have to examine the art on the legend card and also the description of it to try to figure out which concept best fits that legend. And if you choose right, basically it turns green and you get a bonus to the amount of fear that's generated in the region. If you get it wrong, it still becomes more powerful, but it's cool to get that bonus. And this is showing how the media kind of is reacting to the growth of this legend in the region. And you kind of also see your progress towards your goals in there as well.
Yeah, and this is Killian when you are playing really nice and you're making fear grow. Then Killian, from time to time, when you get a specific milestone, gives you rewards. In this case, Killian lets you use another agent, so you have 2 agents to manage.
So I really want to stop this event from happening because it's going to decrease fear in the region, a specific kind that I really want to grow. And so I'm going to invest as many resources as I can to get the kind of optimal result. Usually you have a choice, right, of kind of an easy solution or a more resource intensive one. And when you have enough time on the map, every event, every action you take has basically a time that it requires. So when I've got a little bit of time, maybe 80 time units left on an event, I'll usually choose to invest in the more expensive solution.
So Simon canceled this event, so it's not going to affect the region. And now a rival entered the scene. You see this red window on the right, that's rival. And at the moment, you don't know anything about that rival. You have to get some information about that rival before starting to interact with them.
Yeah, a lot of the events, and especially the events generated by the rival, if you don't examine them with one of your agents, they kind of will quickly overwhelm you. And so as soon as your agent kind of shows their influence starting, it really pays to infiltrate them and figure out what they're about. Because if you don't do it, they're going to start spreading their own fear, and you won't be able to do much about it until you learn more about them.
So in mission 1 of the game, your rival is the CEO of another pharmaceutical company. So they want to counterattack your actions to try not to have the influence you want as a master in the British Islands.
So, kind of typical to games where you have a few different ways to react to conversations with enemies. It kind of generally falls down the line of like being friendly or being aggressive. And so I always go aggressive every time. And sometimes that's a good solution, and sometimes it's a bad one.
Yeah, Simon here has made evolve one of the agents. When an agent has enough experience points, then you can make him evolve, like level up and have like better attributes so that the agents work faster or more efficiently or whatever.
So in order to counteract your rival, you kind of have to make continuous incursions into their operations in order to identify weaknesses. And when you do that, you get these kind of little tokens you can use to reduce their influence, right? So here I want to nullify my rival's actions in this city. And so I can look at the different kind of data that I've learned about the rival and decide which one I want to use to nullify their influence. These are very resource intensive in general. And also, I would say that for me, some of the most interesting decisions in the game come in the rival infiltration system. There's a lot of kind of really interesting things you can learn about the backstory of the rival, and you make pretty hard choices about kind of how you want to proceed through their operations as you're finding out more about them.
So that was it. Thanks so much for watching.
And thank you to London Game Festival for hosting us. We can't wait to hear what you think of the game.
So if you liked what you saw about the Fabulous Imaging, just go on Steam and wishlist the game because it would help us so much.
Thanks.